Just as my friend. You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you.
Not listening. Not listening.
You're a liar. And a thief.
No.
Murderer.
Go away.
Go away!
I hate you. I hate you.
So they hate us and we hate them right back. DEI, Sweet Baby Inc. is reeling as gamers reject them and say we are not going to tolerate it, we will just boycott. Today's video comes from Hypnotic. His channel will be linked in the description, so you can go check him out and support him. Watch the end of the video to fully understand the implications of what is happening here, how this is going to affect not just gaming, but the entirety of media going forward, as these woke companies are now beginning to die off because of their despicable actions. And now let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got a bit of an interesting video for you today because this one came to me from Smash JT. I was watching his live stream. He was reacting to this live. And then as I noticed and he noticed, Anya here, who is the actress for Unknown 9 Awakening, ends up actually admitting something that I think is pretty damn interesting to look at, because it goes to show that you don't really actually have to audition for these roles, that a lot of the time these studios will come after you depending on certain attributes that make them interesting, make you interesting for them to want to hire you. This is actually pretty damn funny, and especially since we constantly talk about DEI hiring, we constantly talk about how studios are going to go after certain people based on other merits. And again, she didn't have to audition. That's what she ends up admitting here. She did not have to audition for the role, and they just literally came to her and picked her.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like this is the first time this has ever happened ever, right? There's been plenty of cases where there have been people just selected without auditioning for a multitude of different reasons. And I don't know what that reason was for Anya particularly. Again, I think she's a very pretty woman. I don't understand, why they didn't necessarily picked her, especially if they were going to ruin her in her in-game character model like they did for whatever reason. But I just still find it more interesting that she actually openly admitted this on camera, and that they would even allow her to say that in the first place, knowing the current climate that's happening right now in the gaming industry. So let's get into this video, guys. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. Now, one clip I want to showcase before I showcase the one about her admitting that she'd never auditioned was this particular clip right here, where it was asking her, does Anya play video games? Now, I'm sure a lot of you are probably thinking to yourself, there ain't no fucking way, right? There's no way she plays video games, and I myself think the same exact thing. The reason why I'm showing this clip is because the answer is so damn bad. I don't know if anybody has actually trained her in like media responses or interview training or something like that, but I think that maybe her manager should do that, because she's a pretty bad fucking answer. Let's watch this video really quick. Here we go.
Yeah, I play. I've played when I was a kid. I played The Witcher.
Bruh, there ain't no way. There is no way, bro. There is no way. Oh my God. You don't have to be a detective to read that body language through and through. This woman tried to say that when she was a kid, she played The Witcher. She had to think about it for a second, and she just ended up coming out with that answer because that was the most obvious one, right? When I saw this clip, the first thing that came into my mind is that she was going to say she played The Witcher because she played Yennefer, obviously. So she was going to say The Witcher 100%. But I didn't think it was actually going to happen. And if you look at the video, she says she played The Witcher.
Yeah, I play. I've played when I was a kid. I played The Witcher. When I got the part, and that was my first introduction really into how big this world was. And I'm definitely going to play Unknown 9 and play myself, which would be very confusing.
Bro, there is no way in hell she's playing Unknown 9 Awakening. I'm sorry. There is no way in hell. She might get a free copy. She absolutely might get a free copy, but there's no way in hell she's going to play Unknown 9 Awakening. Now, here's the actual clip where she admits that she didn't audition for the role, that she was just selected for the role. She doesn't say, obviously, why she was selected for the role, and people are going to try to say, well, clearly it's because of her amazing acting abilities, when, again, I highly doubt that. They were just probably looking for someone who can fit, I guess, Indian descent and also be an actress, and they decided to choose Anya for whatever reason. Even though there's plenty of them out there, I'm sure, that could have done the role, they went to her for whatever reason. But let's play this clip. Here we go.
I didn't audition. I was offered the opportunity, and I jumped at it. I grabbed it with both hands because it's what an amazing opportunity for me to do motion capture. I love working with my body. I'm very inspired by Andy Serkis.
There's definitely going to be people out there that are going to clip that and be like, "Oh, she likes working with her body." Yeah, they're going to clip that for sure.
So after watching this, initially I was going to just say some very serious things regarding this actress, but honestly, I feel kind of bad for her. I feel like she is probably not the sharpest tool in the shed, and they 100% took advantage of her because she does not come across as a very bright person. And she clearly doesn't seem to know what the heck she got into. She was trying to get onto the whole modern audiences thing because that's how it is in Hollywood. Oh, you're going to be a part of the modern audience. DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. This is the future. That's the same garbage that's infected the gaming industry now, and it infected Hollywood long before it infected the gaming industry. And now gaming is becoming is surpassing vastly other forms of media, movies, television shows. So they want to mess this up now. And of course, she's like, oh, diversity, equity, inclusion. She is a very beautiful woman, I think. And the interview, I don't even think she honestly does not look as attractive as she truly is. Even in this interview, she is gorgeous. If you've ever seen her in The Witcher, she's very, very beautiful. And the game is ugly. The game is ugly. It's very, very unplayable. This is something that would be a disgrace back in the early 90s. I'm being very serious. The way that this game is designed, the poor design of this game, would be a disgrace back in the 90s. Like even the legs, for example, the characters walking, the characters moving, they could not get that. They couldn't even get those small things right. These are people who do not know how to program. They don't know how to code. This game, the Unknown Nine was made entirely by diversity hires. It was made, and then of course and even the actress in the game, she says it herself. She is a diversity hire. She was not given the role based on her merit. She was given the role, and I'm not saying she's not a talented actress. I absolutely loved her in The Witcher. I think she did an incredible job in The Witcher. So I am not whatsoever insulting her acting skills. I think she's gorgeous. I think she's a great actress. But outside of her craft, I don't think she's very bright. I don't think she has a lot of common sense. And I think that they took extraordinary advantage of her. And of course, she's an adult and she has to be held accountable for the decisions that she makes. But these people may end up doing irreparable harm to her career, to her image, because, she is now the face of this disgusting game. They have basically taken a beautiful woman and made her character model extremely ugly. When it came to God of War, the guy who played Kratos in the movie, there you go. The guy who played Kratos in the game, he at one point wanted to quit. He took his job very, very seriously. He took the motion capture very, very serious. He understood from the very beginning they needed to nail this thing. This is not a game. And if you guys have played God of War, the new one that came out on PlayStation 4, and then God of War Ragnarok, Christopher Judge, that's his name, I believe. This guy is no joke. This is serious business. Don't mess this up. And it's like a complete night and day where you have these people who are like, they think this is a game. Oh, it's not about the look, it's not about the feel, it's not about the gameplay, it's about the diversity. It's about what it means to so many people. And guys, that's not how movies work. Like the actress that plays She-Hulk in the MCU, she's basically saying she's thinking about suing Disney and Ryan Reynolds for cutting her scenes from Deadpool, because originally she was supposed to have a fight scene in the movie and she like trained for it and prepared for it, and then they decided to cut it out because they're like, yeah, it just doesn't have a place in there. And honestly, I feel like Ryan Reynolds deliberately cut it out because he knows that right now no one's feeling feminism. In fact, I think they took a jab at feminism in the movie itself. They definitely took a jab at Gen Z, and this is kind of it. They didn't want any of that garbage stinking up the movie. Like honestly, I feel like Deadpool 3 kind of deviated away a bit from diversity, equity, and inclusion on in big ways. There was like the Time Patrol, the head of the Time Patrol or Time Police, whatever they're called. I forget their name of them. And she's like, I think she was a decent actress. I don't think she was a bad actress. She wasn't the most beautiful woman, but at the same time, I think she was interesting. And so it's hard to know whether or not she was a diversity hire or not, or they hired her just for her unique acting skills. I think she was a decent actress in the movie. You know, I did not watch Loki, but evidently she was in Loki. I'm talking about the black lady with like she's with the high top. I don't know what that haircut is called, but she had like that interesting haircut. And yeah, that's it's just very intriguing because like Ryan Reynolds cut this woman out of the movie, cut the actress for She-Hulk out, and she was pissed off about it. But everyone realizes right now that at this point, no one wants to hear about, no one wants to hear the F word, strong, liberated, and don't need no man, and all of that stuff. And it's not about the art. It's about what it conveys to the art, to the people watching it. It's about the message. The message. It's about the people making it. No, it's not. It's about this was Ryan Reynolds. He was like, listen, you have to be ruthless when you make film. It has to basically live up to the meat, to what people want to see. They damn well knew that Joker was going to be a flop. They knew it was going to be a flop. They know that there's no modern audience for this stuff. They wanted to destroy that brand because they knew that the original movie meant a lot to people. So they wanted to demoralize men. They wanted to attack men so that it'd make it hard for them to ever go back and even watch the original film. DC wanted to do this. Warner Brothers wanted to do this. Todd Phillips, he got a boatload of cash. It was obviously planned in advance that they were going to do this with Joker 2, that they were going to destroy Joker 2. We should have known the very moment they said that this thing was going to be a musical. Something was wrong. And they had planned this years ago. It was all a plan in motion, and they're going to, of course, just use this as a reason to increase the cost for movies, products and services, everything. Like Deadpool is like $34 for the Blu-ray right now, I think. $34 for the Blu-ray? Who the heck is going to spend $34 on a Blu-ray? Okay? Like guys, do you remember when DVDs were like $10? Now it's what, $34 to get a Blu-ray? That's ridiculous. I mean, wasn't it just a few years ago like a DVD was $10 and then the Blu-ray version might be 12 or 13? Now it's 34. That just tells you how bad things are going right now, where they're just, as much as they screw up, they just pass the cost on to us. We're seeing that with Sony. The PlayStation 4 Pro evidently only cost $399, $400 to make. So in a normal universe, Sony would be selling the PlayStation 4 Pro for $300 because they always take a loss on their systems. So they would be subsidizing it. But no. They're taking so many L's right now that they can't afford it. And they're just passing on their failures to the consumer. And I'll tell you this right now. Like, I mean, Digital Foundry, I love their content, but I think these guys are increasingly becoming shills. Because it's like, is the PlayStation 4 Pro, is the PlayStation 5 Pro, a piece of crap that a gamer should avoid? Well, it's great technology and blah, blah. They're so full of crap. They're so full of crap, guys. Because these guys, the thing is, these people are not economists. And, is it compared to a PC, is and if you try to get the same specs from a PC and so forth, for that price, you're not going to do it. But at the same time, let's compare what you will get with a PC. You can get quite a lot for a PC at that pricing point, and you're also dealing with a PC, so you can have tons of RAM in there. You can have tons of RAM. You can kick the RAM up, and you can have DLSS on your base PC. Okay, versus the PlayStation 5, where you'd have a PlayStation 5 Pro to experience DLSS, or you can use FSR. Okay, in your games, FSR 3, something that is not readily available in most PlayStation 5 games. You can mod your games, you can do all sorts of things that you just cannot do on a PlayStation 5. Guys, there's some dirt cheap like mini PCs right now out there that you can also just go and get, and they're not you're not going to get PlayStation 5 visuals, but you can play PlayStation 5 games. You can play your PlayStation 5 level games on them, and they'll run well, and they'll look damn good. And you can also do all kinds of stuff and add all kinds of mods much cheaper. Much cheaper on a $400 mini PC. You can also do things like use an external GPU if you want to, and of course there's always going to be a bottleneck. But you can use an external GPU, and then you can even kick things up even more and have better graphics as well. Of course, the bottleneck's going to be limited by the transfer speeds, but there's still things there. There's just so many more options. We're grown adults, and it's like they're taking away everything from us. So, I say it's actually a good thing, because what's happening now is these companies are going to die off. They do not have infinite amounts of money. The parent company of Concord that made that woke piece of crap is now shuttering down, evidently. This is crazy. And then the company, Prince of Persia, the team that made the most recent Prince of Persia game, they're also being fired, over at Ubisoft, because the game didn't make enough money, even though it was a decent game. So what's happening is diversity, equity, inclusion is causing all of these companies to collapse. Ubisoft has gone from a 11 to 13 billion dollar company to worth only like less than 1.5 billion and still falling. It's so funny, guys, because these people are in so much trouble right now. Ubisoft is in so much trouble. They have all this debt, and whoever ends up picking up their crap company will have to inherit that debt. I don't know. I say it's good. Let these companies die off. Let them go to hell, because at the end of the day, once they have passed away, indie developers are going to begin taking over, and that will be the new Ubisoft, that will be the new EA, those will be the new companies, those will be the new Squaresoft, and we'll get back to games that we actually enjoy, games that are actually fun to play, and games that don't have DEI all over them. Basically, we're looking at the old guard right now, where you have a bunch of good-for-nothing old individuals that have a monopoly on the gaming industry. They've actively been creating a world that no one wants to live in, where you have no freedom. There's no freedom of thought anymore. Something happened recently with YouTube TV, where you have this split screen option where you can watch multiple games at the same time. So let's say you can watch the NFL, and you can watch a baseball game at the same time, and even a third option. Well, recently, what YouTube TV did was, for people who wanted to watch the football game and another game at the same time, they also had to watch the WNBA game. So you had no option. If you wanted to watch like any other sports, you had to also watch the WNBA game. So you were forced to watch the WNBA game if you wanted to watch more than one thing at a time. And this is sickening. This is how they control you. And it's like, you figure that you have options. You don't. Because they find more and more ways to demoralize you and to control you. And they're like, oh, well, if you want to enjoy the convenience of this, then you're going to have to do this as well. So if you want to watch more than one video at the same time, you can't decide what you do. You're going to have to also watch the WNBA. You're also going to have to be lectured on gender equality and all of these other things, and understand that there's still a pay gap and so forth. That's the world we live in right now, of extreme indoctrination. I mean, if you look at YouTube, YouTube is rolling out this new thing where it's going to be like $11.99 a month for YouTube videos with fewer ads, evidently, and then $22 a month for what you used to pay $11.99 for, then $13.99 for, and now 30, almost $23 for YouTube Premium. $23 for YouTube Premium? Like, this is insane. I made a post. I said that, Netflix is going to, within the next 10 years, Netflix will cost $30. And someone said, $30? You mean 50, right? Because now this is insane. It's gonna be $23 for YouTube Premium. I'm a YouTuber, so I use YouTube Premium for my work, and I cannot stand watching ads. I despise ads. So one way or another, I'm going to have to pay for it. It just kind of kicks me really hard to think, okay, well, so now you'll be spending almost $300 a year for YouTube Premium to watch, to watch videos on YouTube without ads. $300 a year. So for the moment, it's going to actually cost me more for YouTube Premium than it does for Netflix. Oh my gosh. Things are, guys, this is, and just so they can continue, and just so they can push an agenda. This is why people are walking away. And someone said this some time ago that, as they continue to invade male spaces and push us out of society, we will just basically create new spaces. What women in the state don't seem to understand is that they're just pushing men further and further and further away from society. And even though not all women are responsible for this, women like Vera Dark have been fighting the good fight and calling out the BS. They're going to be the ones that end up suffering and paying a lot of social consequences as more men distance themselves from society and relationships. Because a lot of women who are not responsible for what's happened here are going to end up being blamed. The very same women who've been calling out the BS, who've been standing up to it, are going to face consequences for all of the crap that's happening right now. But I've talked about The Sims plenty of times. Why the reason why we're heading in this direction is because of the good for nothing Sims. Is because of the disgusting Sims. Someone said that Sims are these. Stop acting like that. Stop acting like they're human. Stop treating them like they're human. They are not human. Sims are not humans, and they're not. A simp is they're just like Golem. All right, or Sneevil, whatever the hell you want to call that thing. It is not human anymore. All right, maybe once upon a time, it is a monster. It's a monster. It made its choice, and that's basically where we are going right now. Okay, all of the pain and suffering that we're going through is because of the good for nothing Sims. But men will just create new spaces and continue to walk away from these spaces that are now being taken over, and where they're trying to indoctrinate us. Like I said, I love purchasing games off GOG. I just recently found out about GOG. I have like 218 games, or over 200 games on Steam. And then I get to find out, oh yeah, because I always knew that when you purchase games off Steam, you were purchasing a license. Right? Most of us understood that. What I did not understand was that it's basically the equivalent of a long-term rental. Because of the DRM basically prevents you from not only making copies of the game, but it prevents you from ever actually owning the game. Not only, when I say owning the game, as in you don't have the installer, in the sense that if Steam wants to take the game away from you, they can just remove it from your library. And that's it. If they say that your Steam account is no longer in good standing, if they shut down your Steam account, all of your purchases are gone. Your games are not actually owned. You don't own them. And they now tell you when you go to the purchase to the checkout page that that you are not purchasing a game, you're purchasing access to a license. Okay? That can be revoked at any time. You're paying for a rental. So when you spend $70, for a so-called game, you're not buying a game. It's basically Blockbusters. Steam is the equivalent of a Blockbusters. It really is. It's a digital Blockbusters where You are essentially renting your games from them, and these are just long-term rentals where they're like, "Oh yeah, you can hold on to it for as long as you want, man." So instead of spending $70, because that's what these games now cost, spending $70 to actually own something that you can go back to whenever you want to, they give you the illusion of ownership. You don't have real ownership. It's a rental that can be taken away from you at any time. But don't worry, because what Steam says is that if the company ever shuts down or closes down, there's a fail-safe button that they can press, and instantly all the games will have the DRM removed. Yeah, do you really trust them? And again, they can shut your account down at any time that they choose to. And here's another one for you. If you choose to sue Steam, you have to you agree in the new terms that you have to delete your entire account. So if you try to take them to court, you want to file a lawsuit against Steam for something that they've done, you have to delete your entire account that you've spent thousands of dollars. I spent over $3,000 this year alone on my Steam account. 3,000. I will never get that back. Just to find out they can take away my games. I don't own anything. They can say, "Oh, well, your account's not in good standing anymore." Or it doesn't even matter if your account's in good standing or not. If the company, the publisher of the game decides that they no longer want their game on the platform, the game is taken away. You're like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. They're like, no, that's basically how it is. Because you're not paying for the actual game. You're paying for a license, so they can take the game away from you whenever they feel like it. That's why I have GOG, and I've been using GOG. And for those of you that don't know what GOG is, it stands for Good Old Games. Sometimes I say Grand Old Games, and then I correct myself. But then some of you jerks are like, it's Good Old Games. Shut the hell up! Like seriously, shut up. Shut up. I corrected myself. Okay? It's easy to just mistake them. Like, that's why some people think the gaming industry and some gamers are toxic. Bro, I'm screwed up a word. Okay? But yeah, I discovered Good Old Games recently, and of course I'm gonna mess up and say Grand Old Games at some point again. And there's some idiot's gonna say it's Good Old Games in the comments. You idiot, I just said that. I'm explaining it. But yeah. I've been using Good Old Games. It's incredible, and there's so many amazing games in there. I just picked up Dead Space today. This is the original, not the remake. The thing is, when you're playing on PC, you can increase the graphics so much that that it ends up looking really, really good. So I just picked that up, and it's like the idea is that I actually own this game. I can download the games. I have the installers. I can send them to my friends. This is so amazing. This is something that we just never had back in the day. And what's so cool about this is, like, for example, theoretically, if I have like a game that I'm playing and I'm enjoying it, I'm like, my friend is like, I have a friend. I'm like, hey, bro, yeah, you can. I'm like, this game is amazing, and I could just like basically send him the game and he can play it. And because I have the installer, I own the game, so I cannot redistribute it in terms of selling it, but I can let my friends play it. Evidently, there's nothing wrong with that because it's a copy of the game that I legally own. So as long as neither of us are selling the games, I'm not selling a copy of it to him. It's my game. I can allow him to play a copy of my game, and I think that's really, really cool. And there's so many. I mean, heck, you have new games on there like No Man's Sky. You have God of War, the one that came out on PS4. That takes place in Norse mythology. The Ragnarok is the latest one, and that game is actually on GOG. So as more gamers begin to fight back and say we're not going to take the crap anymore, or the scraps that you're leaving behind, we actually want to own our stuff. It's going to be very interesting to see where things go, and that's why I say this is actually good. Let these woke, good for nothing, DEI infested parasitic companies die off, and let the people who choose to go down this path and associate themselves with it, let them go. Let them fall apart with it as well. Like, I really like the actress that plays Yennefer. And now she's mixed herself up with this evil company, and they called her up and they were like, "Oh, we're just going to give you the job because of diversity, equity, and inclusion." And all she speaks about in the interview is like diversity, equity, inclusion. Well, bro, guess what? You've thrown away all the goodwill with the fans. You've allowed them to take your image, take your likeness, and turn you into something that is not attractive, guys are going to be that is repulsive, bad gameplay, and now your image is associated with this. It's sad. It's really sad. It just shows you, like, you're dealing with human beings, normal people, and sometimes they don't make good decisions. I look at Tom Holland now, and I see like kind of a humility with him because he talks about his experience going from being this fresh faced kid playing Spider-Man to now having done this for 10 years. He has a lot of say in what's going to happen. He can make a lot of decisions. He understands the industry in and out now, and he has a lot of power, and he's trying to be very careful how he wields that power. Like, dude has literally gone full-blown Spider-Man, I have to say. And it's just very interesting to see that difference. And he says, like, Sony wants to make another Spider-Man. He wants to make another Spider-Man, maybe many more of them, but he doesn't want to do it just for the sake of doing it. He wants to do it for the right reason. Because, and that's the difference between a lot of these DEI agents. They're only doing this to create, to damage these spaces that men enjoy. They even like censored the latest Sonic Hedgehog game, and of course there's a bunch of idiots who are like, well, they censored it, but I'm still gonna buy it. I literally had some idiot in my comments who was like, I hate DEI, I hate censorship in games, but if the game is good, I'm still gonna buy it. And that's basically how a lot of these people think. And those are the people that they're trying to reach. The people who are going to buy the game and play the game anyway, and just accept it for what it is. So while there is a major while there's a major backlash, there are also those idiots who are still going out there and buying the games, like Silent Hill remake. There was a Silent Hill remake, or Silent Hill 2 remake. Was it Silent Hill 2 remake? It had a lot of backlash. There were a lot of people that were pissed off, but it still ended up selling 1 million copies in like the first couple of days being out, or the first week, which is still very large for that game. However, we don't know what future sales are going to look like. So that's a very important thing to factor in. But what you just have to consider is the fact that you have these simps out there, and they're going to buy these games anyway, and that's what they're hoping for. But when in the case of Concord, they went so far that they were like, forget this. In the case of Unknown 9, they went so far that like no one's picking up the game. So that's kind of like the playbook a lot of these companies are going to be using going forward, where they'll give you mostly what you want, but they're going to be mixing in DEI in there, and then hoping that no one complains about it. That's what they've done with the latest Sonic the Hedgehog game, Sonic Generations Shadows. They've heavily censored it, and there's still a bunch of Sims playing it like, oh, this is so awesome. But of course, there are many fans who are also throwing out backlash, and you're going to see, they're going to miss a lot of those sales, and a lot of these companies are going to die off. So I say this is actually good. This is what's happening right here with these companies, what's happening with these games, that it's beginning to come to light that like players are fighting back and standing up. And this is going to transform the media industry in general, because it's not only going to be games that people push back against, but it's also going to be things like movies. Like Joker 2 is a complete and utter flop. People are not watching it. This movie is going to cost anywhere from $400 to $500 billion in losses for the studio that made it. So it's going to cost Warner Brothers $400 to $500 million, and they'll probably try to write it off, but it doesn't matter, because that's still a major loss for them. And the losses are just racking up. Studios are closing down as a result of this. Sony is losing massive amounts of money, and they're just going to keep on playing it off and just raising up the prices. They're saying that $80 games may very well be on the way. $70 games, these games are not worth $70. And they're saying that $80 games may be on the way. Like, don't be surprised if PlayStation 6 games cost $80. Good luck with that. That's the reason why PC is going to continue to hold out. Like, I regret not jumping on the PC bandwagon 20 years ago. I'm a computer guy, I'm a tech guy, I'm a trained software engineer, but at the same time, I always preferred console gaming because I didn't want to have to go in and edit my files if there were issues. I didn't want to have to put up with bugs. I didn't want to have to do any of that. I just wanted to be able to sit down and play games in peace. But now, things have improved a lot. A lot of these, like the Steam Deck, helps to mitigate a lot of those issues. I'm older, I can mod stuff, and I'm not willing to put up with the BS anymore. I'd rather have that control where I can change my games, I can control my experience, and I can actually I can actually at least own the digital versions of my games. Something you will never be able to do with the PlayStation console versus PC, where you can own the install files. I can own the files from good old games. I now have over 90 of them. Yeah, I could like pull it. Yeah, like for good, I have 92 games. I've purchased 92 games from good old games so far. Which is insane. I mean, I have over 200 games. Most of them I purchased this year. I purchased over 200 games this year from Steam, and then I find out, yeah, we could just take them away at any time. So I just started building up my collection over on GOG. I've purchased a lot of some of the games that I already had on Steam, and then a lot of different ones. And I'm just like amazed at the diversity over there. I was like, holy cow, Dead Space was on there, So I'm more than happy to go back to these games before they had remasters, and some of these games have like packs and mods that improve the visual fidelity. So I'm good with that. And I'm happy with that. And I feel like, because we're heading towards hell, and guys, a lot of the jobs that have to be done, for example, porter potties, like someone has to clean the porter potty, someone has to has to pick up the garbage, someone has to fix the drains, someone has to clean the streets. Women aren't going to do these jobs. Someone has to do the electrical wiring, right? When things go downhill, when the computers go offline, like what happened with Microsoft recently, and all these computers were taken offline, someone has to step in, especially in the age of AI, and with AGI coming, artificial general intelligence, where they can outperform human beings. You're going to need people that are up to par, that can deal with these issues, that can outthink AI if we ever have a situation like Terminator. And it doesn't have to be an outright situation like Terminator, where it's like, oh, Skynet's taking over. It could be just much more like, yeah, the software is like, there's some issues with the software and it needs to be troubleshooted, and we need some people that really know what they're doing. And to say that, well, yeah, we don't have any of those anymore, we only have diversity hires, it's going to be hell on earth. So I say, like, more and more men are walking away from society, and the state is falling apart because they're not as powerful as you think. All right. Without us, they have nothing. A country without its men is not a country. A country without its men is a wasteland. And they still need men to keep the lights on. They still need men to run society, guys. Don't believe them. You have a natural disaster. You don't have a bunch of machines that are going to pop up and do all of these jobs and save the world, guys. I'm telling you, a lot of you guys are like, oh, men are no longer needed in society, guys. Men walk away. If men just take a single day off, it's basically a precursor to the apocalypse. I'm telling you that right now. Even during 2020, when things were going downhill and things were in like the world was closed down, there were still men working in the background, making sure that the lights were on, working in the power plants, working in the keeping the systems online. That's when you needed cybersecurity people. That's when you needed tech guys. All of those men were working in the background to make everything to make everything work and facilitate everything, while in just a horrible situation. It's amazing. That completely blew me away, and no one thinks about that. Everyone's like, oh yeah, that doesn't mean anything, we got through it just fine. You guys, men are sick and tired. That's why so many men are dropping out of the workforce. Do you remember earlier this year when they said it was 3 million men who had dropped out of the workforce? And I said, guys, it's over 30 million. Now they're saying it's 10 million men who've dropped out of the workforce. And again, guys, I'm saying it's over 30 million. And now they're saying, okay, it's over 10 million men that have dropped out of the workforce. They don't want to admit that over 30 million men have dropped out of the workforce. Do you guys agree that in many ways, it's actually good what's happening here? Because these companies are beginning to fail that are putting out these woke pieces of crap, these woke products, and people are rejecting them, and they're going to die off. These companies are going to die off, and they will just be replaced by indie studios, and not just indie gaming studios, but also indie studios that make movies and so forth. And that's where we're going to start consuming our content from. There were great classic movies back in the day, and they were made by indie studios that ended up becoming larger studios. And that's really where we're heading. And a lot of these tools that use AI are going to help facilitate that. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Do you agree that it's a great thing that many of these companies that have gone woke are going broke, and that's only going to create an opportunity for them to die off and newer and better things to emerge from the flame, from the ashes? Let me know your thoughts, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA. Been walking away, and cheers. So guys, I'm just giving you a peek yet again at just a bit of what it's like making these videos for you, because you guys think it's super easy to be a YouTuber. A lot of it is video editing. So that little scene that you guys enjoyed at the beginning of the video with Golem, where he's talking back and forth and it's gamers talking to DEI. And yeah, guys, I mean, just here's a peek of how I'm doing the editing for this, where I had to basically chop up that little seed into a bunch of other seeds. So these are all individual files now. And then for each and every single one of these, I have to do the motion tracking separately. So for example, this one right here already has the motion tracking done. This one has the motion tracking done. And let's see here. Let's double check. Double check on this one. Check on this one. Double check on this one. This one. This one. So this one does not have the motion tracking done yet. And here's how the motion tracking is done. So I'm using Filmora. I turn on the motion tracking, and then I have to basically select the actual character. So in this situation, it's Golem talking to himself. So I have to break it up into different chunks so that we can have back and forth conversations. I activate the motion tracking here, and it does it on that in that chopped off portion of the layer. And yeah. And then we go back and we rinse and repeat and do it all over again with this. We line it up, turn the motion tracking on, and we just did that all over again. And then we have this other layer here, and just a tiny piece. I would just like, guys, just for this tiny little segment of the video that you guys enjoy, all of this work has to go into it just to do the motion tracking. And then, of course, there's the process of adding in the labels. So we're going to go here. We're going to go and grab a label. This is the first one. Let's just move this right here, get that correct. Oh, and we go ahead, we find a nice label that we want to work with. And we take the label, let's see here, drag it down here, drop it on the first one, and then we modify the label. So this is going to be, let's see, let's listen to the audio for a moment. That's my friend. Okay, so let's see here. That's DEI. So we're going to make that the DEI. We're going to put the DEI text there. Diversity, equity, inclusion. And we shrink it down. And we line this up where we want the text to be. Okay. And then from here, we're going to return to the motion tracking. And then we have link element, and we're going to link them together. And upon doing so, if we play it, you can see that we've just linked it. Okay. And then we can go back and do the exact same thing with the next layer. Go here. And we're just going to basically type gamers. We make that smaller. We drag this over here. We line this up. Okay. And then from there, we're going to go right back to the clip. And let's see here. We're going to add it in there. We're going to basically combine. We're going to combine the two. That's supposed to allow us to do tracking on that one as well. As you can see, sometimes things do not go as planned, like right now. Oh, so It's actually telling us we're going to have to redo this one more time. So there we go. So the motion tracking has been enabled there. And now we can go back here. We can link the element, like what's going on. And we've just gone ahead and linked the element. And it should actually be right here. And then let's see. That's DEI. Gamers. And we'll just play the two. And that's just, so I have to do all of the rest of that now. Yeah. That was 5 minutes of explanations, wasn't it? That was a bit of explanations for you guys. We just did all of that work. All, and that's just a tiny portion of the editing process. Like you guys are like, oh, angry, do this, oh, angry, add that. Bro, this is going to take me, this, what, 30 seconds of video is going to take me maybe around 30 minutes of editing. And this entire, by the way, just to let you know, I had to learn how to do all of this just for you within about 5 or 10 minutes. So, you know, this is the skill sets that you gain and that you have to create and develop just to do this is insane. Let me know if you want me to continue doing more videos like this at the end of my videos where I give you a peek of, like, you know, behind the scenes of how I create the content for you that I'm creating, the process that it takes. Let me know if there's any other stuff that you want me to show you guys specifically about the creation process so that you can learn from it. Don't forget, if you want to become a YouTuber and build a business like what I've built here on YouTube, you can use the link in the description to become a part of the YouTube Academy I've built for you guys. And there's all the resources in there that's going to teach you how to build an actual business so that you can replace your 9-to-5 job with a YouTube channel and then grow from there. But guys, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you enjoyed this portion of the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.